Hi everyone, today we'll understand one of the most common and confusing name reaction in organic chemistry, which is aldol reaction as well as aldol condensation reaction. Now there are 4 important points to keep in mind for both reactions. 1. It occurs either between 2 aldehydes, 2 ketones, or an aldehyde and a ketone. 2. In aldol condensation, the product is alpha-beta unsaturated ketone, whereas in aldol reaction the product is beta-hydroxyketone. For those who don't know what is alpha and beta in a molecule, I will explain you it in the next point. 3. In reactants, any one reactant must have at least one alpha hydrogen. Now let's talk about what is alpha-beta. So the nearest carbon to any functional group in a molecule is called alpha carbon and the substituent attached to it is alpha substituent. For example, here hydrogen is attached to alpha carbon, then it will be called alpha hydrogen. If functional group itself have a carbon, then also the next most carbon to that carbon will be alpha carbon. Similarly, next carbon to alpha carbon is called beta carbon and so on. 4. Aldol condensation involves heat, whereas no heat is given in case of aldol reaction. Now let's see the mechanism. The reaction can proceed in acidic as well as basic conditions, but in both the mechanisms slightly differ. First, let's talk about acidic conditions. The carbonyl oxygen takes proton and acquire positive charge. Shift of electron causes carbonyl carbon to get positively charged. Now another reactant, which is discussed in point 1, can be another aldehyde, ketone or the another molecule of same reactant, will react in its tautomeric form. Now some of you might ask, what are tautomers? Then it is nothing but just interconvertible form of the molecule that differ in relative position of substituent, which here is hydrogen. This tautomeric form of reactant here will react with the positively charged carbonyl carbon which was formed earlier. For this, the tautomeric reactant will lose its proton, and due to resonance, or we can say shifting of electrons, the alpha carbon will acquire negative charge, which will further attack on previously formed positively charged carbon, and the product formed will be beta-hydroxyketone and reaction will be aldol reaction. Now if you involve heat in this reaction further, then elimination of water will occur, which is basically condensation, and you will get alpha-beta unsaturated ketone. And the reaction will be called aldol condensation reaction. Now let's discuss the reaction in basic conditions. Keep in mind, the main function of a base is to remove proton, which is basically a positively charged hydrogen species. The base will remove proton from reactant and alpha carbon will get negatively charged. This substrate will react with another reactant which is already protonated due to donation of proton from solvent used, which here is methanol. Methanol will give proton to this reactant which will cause shift of electrons and carbon to get positive charge. In reaction between both of these reactants, the product formed will be beta-hydroxyketone. Until here the reaction was aldol reaction. Now for aldol condensation, the solvent molecule which lost its proton will again abstract the proton from aldol product, and subsequent action of heat will cause removal of water and formation of alpha-beta unsaturated ketone, and the reaction will be aldol condensation reaction. I hope this might clear all the confusion regarding both the reactions.